Greetings, everybody. My name is James. I am from the internet. And today we are going to be talking about death and taxes. Now, ever since I was a wee lad and I was only wee tall, my parents, my family burned into my brain the old basic axiom that the only things in life that are unavoidable are death and taxes. Now, as a child, I didn't really understand that too much, but the older I got, the more I realized they were right. For me, and literally billions of people like me around the world, these are truly unavoidable things. Now, however, for the wealthy and the powerful, because there is always a different set of rules, they seem to believe that they can find a way around both. Now, historically, poor people have often dreamed of all the different ways they could get out of poverty, rubbing magic lamps and finding magic chalices and drinking from them and, finding fountains with holy water that keeps you young forever. And then, of course, the wealthy immediately take all that wealth and they pay a whole bunch of the poor to go out and try to find those things for them and bring them back because they believe they can buy immortality. Now, so far, it hasn't happened, but I'm sure they're going to keep trying. As to the other, taxes, well, I think they might have gotten that part figured out. Let me take a look. Here we go. The wealthiest 1% of Americans dodge $163 billion in taxes every year. What? No, that can't be a thing. I have been led to believe that the wealthy are benevolent and that they trickle wealth down to the rest of us so that, we can be happy and productive and labor for them better so that they can make more profits and then pay their fair share of taxes so that the whole wheel keeps turning and everybody gets to live a fairly normal, decent life. Isn't that the way this is supposed to work? I feel like this wheel isn't really turning the way it's supposed to turn. The richest Americans are the ones dodging the most in U.S. taxes. It's not even close. The top 1% of American earners evade about $163 billion in taxes every year. Researchers at the Treasury Department said in a report that counts for roughly 28% of the total U.S. tax gap, a measurement of taxes owed compared to taxes collected. The total gap is about $600 billion on a yearly basis. It'll cost the government around $7 trillion in lost revenue over the next decade. Wow, that seems like a lot of money. Now, again, I have been led to believe that everybody pays their fair share, and that's the way it works. And, now supposedly the wealthy, because, they make so much money, it wouldn't be fair if we had, a flat tax and everybody paid the same percentage. However, my assumption was that the taxes that were left that they are supposed to pay, they paid. I mean, after all, they're making billions of dollars a year off of everybody else's labor, and then those laborers count on the social services that those taxes pay for. So if those people weren't paying their taxes, that would mean that they're shitting on us, and surely that can't be a thing. Top earners' evasion easily outpaces the next wealthiest Americans. Those in the 95th to 99th income percentile skip out on $144 billion in tax payments annually, according to the report. That counts for 24.7% of the nationwide tax gap. So if you add that up, that means the top 5% of all earners, wealthy people, not rich people, they account for more than 50% of all tax non-payment annually in the United States of America. And yet, there are people in the media, in government, pundits, loud people with very large soapboxes and loud megaphones who would have you believe that the poors all just suckle at the teat of the state and want all this free stuff that's paid for with taxes, and yet the people who are earning all the profits, it turns out, aren't paying taxes. Much of the disparity is driven by wealthy Americans' ability to shield themselves from tax payments. Higher income taxpayers can tap accountants, tax preparers, and other services to lower their true tax liability. These Americans also know the government has few resources to counter such evasion, and as such, they're more likely to skirt the rules. But wait, what about the whole they're really benevolent and, wealthy people make everything more awesome because, benevolence? That practice is helping fuel economic inequality across the country, the department said. By exacerbating the tax gap, wealthy Americans force lawmakers to choose between higher budget deficits or tax hikes to pay for social programs. Both options are historically unpopular and tend to keep Congress from beefing up key support like unemployment benefits, food stamps, and infrastructure spending. And none of those things are things that the wealthy care about. Do you think wealthy people give a fuck about whether or not we have a robust unemployment system or food stamps so that people can eat, or that we're spending money on infrastructure? The wealthy don't give a fuck about that. The wealthy give a fuck about the runway at the airport that their private jet is kept at, the runway at the airport that their private jet is going to land at, and the extremely large boat jetty that they are going to take a private town car to go and get on their large fucking yacht. These people don't care about any of this stuff, and they figured out that not only can they not care about it, but they don't even have to be bothered to pay for it. Why? Because the government isn't going to come for them. But fear not, young patriots, because Joe Biden is on the case. That's right. Joe Biden, he's coming to the rescue of the working class. Look, it says so right here in this article. The Democrats have crackdown plans, and of course, that means Joe Biden is on the case. The White House seeks to strengthen tax enforcement to offset some of the costs of its $3.5 trillion infrastructure proposal. The Department of Treasury estimates that Biden's proposed $80 billion investment into the IRS could bring an additional $700 billion in revenue over 10 years. And that's still with hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes going uncollected each year. Quick addendum here. Isn't it great that we live in a country where we just accept that like a large portion of people aren't going to pay their taxes, while all of us fearfully pay every last cent, if not overpay, because we're freaked out that we're going to get sent to prison? But wealthy people who literally keep billions of dollars a year from the government are just lighting cigars with $100 bills while giving us all the finger? Isn't that awesome? Yeah, cool. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Allow me to continue. Biden's funding would also place more focus on the wealthiest Americans' tax gaps. The number of agents devoted to working on sophisticated tax evasion enforcement has fallen by 35% over the last decade, according to the Department of the Treasury. The IRS's budget has fallen by 20%, while audits fell by 42% from 2010 to 2017. According to a White House fact sheet, there's been an 80% decline in the audit rate for those making over $1 million a year from 2011 to 2018. Okay, everybody, hold on. Time out. I gotta do one of those media literacy things here and explain something to y'all. This is Business Insider. They are owned by people who have a lot of money and have a lot of money in capital investments, and they're not people who are working for a paycheck like you and I. So please note, this entire paragraph makes it sound as if something magical, mystical, or unexplained happened and nobody knows why. Look, it seems that the number of agents has just fallen. Oh, okay, the IRS budget has fallen. Oh, okay, there's been an 80% decline. These are words that make it seem as if the source and the reason for this happening is some vague, misty, innocuous thing that nobody can quite put their finger on. I promise you, in the next couple of minutes, I am going to firmly insert my finger into the reason why this happens. The extent of wealthy Americans' tax evasion could be even larger than the Treasury forecast. Charles Rettig, the IRS commissioner, has said the tax gap could actually exceed $1 trillion. The windfall from IRS reform could exceed initial forecasts as well. The White House has also called on using information from financial institutions to enforce income taxes. Boosting the IRS's budget and expanding its toolbox could yield as much as $1.6 trillion in uncollected tax revenue over the next decade, more than double the $700 billion jackpot first estimated by the Biden administration. Hey, wow, isn't that amazing? People evading taxes and then being forced to pay them is a jackpot or a windfall. Like you're just walking down the road, Biden's got Major and he's got him on the collar and he's walking down the road and, oh, he trips and falls and, oh, what's this? Look, a $700 billion jackpot. Where did this pile of cash come from? And now let me drop this blurb from a supporting New York Times article, and then I'm going to get back to the great mystery as to how all this happened, okay? Whoa. For the IRS to appropriately enforce the tax laws against higher earners and large corporations, it needs funding to hire and train revenue agents who can decipher their thousands of pages of sophisticated tax filings. It also needs access to information about opaque income streams, like proprietorship and partnership income. Tax compliance rates are high for low and middle income workers who have their taxes deducted automatically from their paychecks. The rich, however, are able to use accounting loopholes to shield their tax liabilities. The Biden administration has pledged that individuals with, quote, actual income of less than $400,000 a year will not see their audit rates go up. So again, they are targeting a very specific demographic of people with this plan. And now I will make 2 quick points on my way out the door. Number 1, while this all sounds great, it's not going to happen. Nothing is going to come of this. I'm sure in fantasy land, we would all like to believe that Joe Biden is going to say this to Congress and that they're all going to go, you know, Joe, you're right. All the wealthy people really should stop evading their taxes and pay their fair share. Hold on, we're going to whip up a piece of legislation and then vote in majority to support that legislation. Because power concedes nothing without demands. And this is not going to be a demand of Joe Biden. This is going to be a request that gets column inches and headlines, as judging by the fact that I just burned 15 minutes talking about it. However, this loops into point number 2, and it's what I was pointing at earlier in the video. And it's this. The majority of people who work in Congress are already millionaires. Some a couple million, some 50 million, some 100 million. It doesn't matter how many millions they have. The point is they're wealthy. And do you know how the wealthy stay wealthy? By not spending their money. And that includes by using tax loopholes to lower their tax liability so that they keep more of their money while they take more of yours through the very legislation that they pass to make the tax code the way it is today. Do not get it twisted. Every single year, wealthy people line up a room filled with accountants and lawyers, go over all their assets, all their money, figure out their tax liability, find out the 1 or 2 places where their tax liability is highest, and rather than altering their spending or their allocation and layout of resources and money, they go to Congress and they find people who sit on the proper boards or commissions or chambers or whatever the fuck it is people do up in Congress when they decide to vote on the tax code, and they go to them and they go, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of money and we're going to float your entire campaign so you can have shiny posters and big buttons and give lots of speeches. And in return, in this next change to the tax code, you're going to get rid of this one huge liability that's kicking my ass. Yeah, sorry, I don't think I should have to pay additional taxes on my 3rd private jet. So if you could just eliminate that for me, I would be more than happy to continue lobbying and then supporting your campaign. So the very people Joe Biden is going to go to this request with are the people who made the tax code the way it is today. So what does this mean for you, the average viewer? Sorry, I hate to tell you. It means that the burden and the responsibility and the onus of giving a shit about you, your community, your neighborhood, and the people in your life is going to fall solely on your shoulders, because the people in DC are too busy taking money from wealthy people so that they take less money from wealthy people and in return take more money from you. Until next time, My name is James. I am from the internet and I am out. Peace.